This is Arabesque, an exploration of the music of the Arab world. Hello, I'm Collinet, host of the public radio show Afropop Worldwide. In this segment, we'll learn about the styles of Arab music. The world is getting smaller. Satellite broadcasts and the internet are bringing us closer and closer together. And it may seem like all our cultures are blending into one. But there was a time before. And it's the reason we have the diversity that we still see around us. Why Chinese music, for instance, sounds different from the music of France. And it's why music of the region known as the Arab world has a sound all its own.
Even though I'm very interested in jazz, I will never play jazz like an American does.
Amin Raihi is a musician from Tunisia in northern Africa.
I'll never play pop like an American does because I'm who I am, and I come from a certain environment that even Tunisian dialect is a mixture of so many words from Italian, from Maltese, from French. So our music expresses very much that diversity.
The music of the Arab world comes from a common root. Just like Western music, it grew out of the music of the ancient Greeks, and you will find similarities in instruments, in rhythms, in the way music is performed from country to country. But the Arab world is spread out over thousands of miles, and back when people and ideas didn't travel far, it developed dozens of regional and local musical traditions. Annelies Thomas is a music teacher at the Jefferson Center, a performing arts center in Roanoke, Virginia.
There were travelers that would travel through the region and would bring their instruments and would bring their music. There's great ideas that travel really well and get picked up everywhere, and other ideas that sort of simmer beneath the surface.
So, slowly at first, and then faster and faster, musical ideas spread through the Arab world, today making up a fascinating tapestry.
The Arab world basically refers to the whole geographic area in which people speak Arabic. So today you'll find Arabic-speaking peoples all the way from Morocco in the west through North Africa. You'll find them in Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, Palestine. You'll find Arabs as far east as Iraq. Saudi Arabia, of course, is an Arab country, and all of these countries around the Arab Gulf, Oman, Bahrain. So it really is a wide geographic area.
Let's take a trip then, back and forth through time and types of music and all around the Arab world to try and get a full appreciation of just how many types, categories or genres of music there are. Now, when we talk about categories in the US or in Europe, we have what we call classical music. And then we talk about pop music or folk music. Just hearing these, you know they are very different from each other. In the Arab world, you are much less likely to find that kind of split. As Annelies Thomas says,
in Arab music, you've got a lot of artists that draw on traditional or folk music and bring it into their classical music or their pop music.
Amin Raihi is an example of this.
We played a long time the Arabic classical music, but then we got to that point where we needed to express ourselves as modern Tunisians nowadays.
So there's not that same formal split that we talk about between classical or folk music. But that doesn't mean the Arab world doesn't have musical categories that are given the same respect as Western classical. This is a group called Habab al-Andalus, Young Men of Andalus. They play in an ancient style that dates back to when the Arab world stretched all the way to Spain. Their conductor is Debi Mohammed Amin.
It's an 8th century old art form that started in Andalusia and then moved to Morocco. And the Moroccans have added a lot to it over the years.
Like Western classical music, Andalusian music often features a large orchestra. The difference is that an Andalusian orchestra is all strings. There are no wind instruments. And in this case, you'll hear that the orchestra is backing up a singer. Each individual instrument in the orchestra tends to do its own ornamentation with a lot of flourish. As Anneliese Thomas says,
it gives this richness, this feeling of almost courtly elegance, I guess is one way to describe it.
But Morocco is not the only storehouse of older musical traditions. You can also find people playing ancient forms of music in Iraq, specifically in Baghdad. This is a musical genre called maqam. It has a couple of elements that make it distinct. For one thing, the songs are very long. Anneliese Thomas explains.
You'll find pieces grouped together in a kind of a medley, with one piece progressing to another, usually having the same musical scale.
Another distinct element of maqam music is the rhythm.
The rhythm of this selection is a 10-beat rhythmic cycle called jarjuna. It sounds like this: doom, tek, doom, tek, doom, tek, doom, tek, doom.
So those are some of the oldest styles of Arab music. There's another that is not so old, but still not what young Arabs would call contemporary, though their grandparents might.
اسقني واشرب على أطلالي.
This is the great Egyptian singer Kulthum, probably the most important Arab singer of the modern era. As Sudanese musician Salma Lasal puts it,
Umm Kulthum's status is so high. She's like a pyramid, and I wish I could be half as high.
من أعاديس الجواد.
Kulthum started singing in the 1920s in Cairo, the early days of radio. Egypt had very powerful radio stations, and in the 1930s and 40s, Kulthum's voice spread throughout the Arab world. The sophisticated vocal techniques of Kulthum made her the most important singer of the 20th century in the Arab world. She was also hugely popular. She died the same year as the president of Egypt, President Nasser, and more people came to her funeral than the presidents.
One thing any listener to Kulthum can hear the artistry that she brings to the music, to the specific subtle things that she brings to each vocal line. It was said that she never sang the same line twice.
But even Kulthum, with all of her fame, doesn't compare with the popularity of the Arab world's folk music, which is a music played by and sung for just plain folks. As musician Amin Raihi puts it,
I would say the Western classical music is a very precise music compared to the Arab one, which is more for fun.
This is music played by people in a community, played for the entertainment of their own neighbors and friends, and played by musicians who, when they are not performing, might be working as a plumber or truck driver. This kind of informal playing is, according to Tunisian musician Jamel Laroussi, something ingrained in the Arab world.
If you learn things, so it means that you played them and you played them 1,000 times, and to have this passion to play 1,000 times a thing is love. It's because you love it.
You'll hear folk music at any kind of community event, a festival, a saint celebration, but especially you'll hear it at weddings. This is Salma Al-Assal singing. Her work is within a tradition of Arab wedding music by women. It's free-flowing music and it's often improvised. That means made up on the spot.
Women like me perform improvisationally. In weddings, singers improvise. There are also popular singers who perform improvisationally and spontaneously.
On a wedding day, there are songs for dressing the bride, for bathing the groom, for when the bride and groom leave their parents' home. And just like anywhere else in the world, at the reception, there's music for dancing. What you're hearing now is what's called a debke. Annelise Thomas explains.
A debke refers to a kind of dancing that often happens at weddings, where people dance in a line holding hands, and dancers stamp in time to the rhythm that you hear.
At the end of the line is where dancers have the chance to show off their moves.
By doing kicks or squats or different kinds of moves that show what a good dancer they are.
As we said earlier, the world is getting smaller. Cultures are mixing, and according to Sudanese singer Salma Al-Assal, it's changing the music of the Arab world.
The songs have changed. In the days of Kulthum, songs used to be sophisticated and beautiful like James Brown's songs. But now you have Chris Brown. In the past we had Kulthum, and now there's Saad al-Sawyer.
Salma Al-Assal may think things have gone downhill, but Annelise Thomas says there is still plenty of beautiful, sophisticated Arab pop music. She points, for example, to Kazem El-Sair. He's an Iraqi pop star who uses a lot of the things that we find in any other pop music, things like synthesizers and keyboards, but he also uses a large orchestra. And Thomas says
he works with poetry that is known as fine poetry. So this selection, ecstacy, come from a poem by the famous poet Nizar al-Kabani. Either the beloved can come and live with him and die with him, or he's going to immortalize her on the pages of his notebook.
But it is true that the wider world is encroaching on the Arab world. As Salma Al-Assal says,
we all listen to Western music. We listen to Boney M, even in Sudan. We listen to all the old stuff. Tina Charles's disco songs, Bob Marley, all that.
Will there be a pure Arab sound in 20 years? Who knows? Annelise Thomas says,
well, like everywhere, you'll find people, especially people of an older generation, that are saying that the music is all starting to sound the same. But personally, I think that this just gives a lot more creative freedom to individual artists.
And according to Tunisian musician Amin Raihi, even if things do mix, it does not matter after all.
For me, music crosses the frontiers, and you can see that you are from Tunisia, you play with an American, or actually our band is made of Spanish, of Dutch, of Indians, Turkish, and you communicate with people, even though sometimes you don't even share the same spoken language. You see literature, you see the words, there's an understanding. In music, it's very relative. You can play the same piece to 100 people and everyone will understand it its own way.
Thanks for listening. I'm Georges Collinet, host of the public radio show Afropop Worldwide for Arts Edge, a program of the Education Department of the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts.